Hello everybody, back with another AP reaction video. The poll just coming out, our first poll of October, and ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of changes to go over. As you can already tell, we have a new number one yet again, similar to the old number one, Alabama reclaiming the number one spot after their dominating win over Arkansas. Got tight for 3/4, pulled away with a backup quarterback, did the Crimson Tide. They get number one, especially with our number two team, Georgia, showing that you indeed can play terrible for 3/4 and still win at Missouri. While you can do that, poll voters aren't going to like it. 3, 4, 5, and 6 all staying put, with Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, and USC all getting wins. Oklahoma State moves up to number 7 with their big win over Baylor. Tennessee now number 8, and Ole Miss moves up to number 9 for their win. So we got to talk about a top 10 Ole Miss this week. Penn State also moving up to the top 10, with Utah and Oregon moving up a spot as well. Kentucky falling all the way to 13, which I understand a bit, but that's a bit brutal. You lose by 3 on the road to a good Ole Miss team, and you get punished by falling all the way down to number 13. NC State got beat by more, but didn't have as severe as a punishment. Wolfpack are at 14. Wake Forest is one of the big jumpers all the way up to number 15 for their ranked win over Florida State and the chaos that happened around them. Teams 15 through 25 went 3-8 last week, with it ranging from Oklahoma getting absolutely boat raced by TCU to a top 25 matchup with Wake and Florida State, to Washington getting beat by UCLA in another bout of Pac-12 after dark. Just chaos everywhere. A&M gets blown out by Mississippi State. I mean, just so many random games that happened. And we see BYU gets rewarded. They had an ugly first half against their rivals in Utah State, but they righted the ship, got the win, and they're rewarded with the 16 spot. And this is where things get wonky, folks. TCU is number 17. The Frogs were barely even getting votes last week, and now here they are after a 31-point win over Oklahoma. The Frogs are number 17. UCLA up to 18 for their big win. They're still undefeated. And then, folks, it finally happened. Kansas is ranked for the first time since September of 2009. The Jayhawks are ranked in the not just the top 25, in the top 20. The highest they got up to in that 2009 season was number 16. If they can beat a top 20 TCU this week at home, who knows what's going to happen? College game day is going to be there. It is going to be a crazy environment in Lawrence for sure. I mean, Kansas State also moving up to number 20. Washington falling all the way down to 21. Syracuse also in the other school no one's really talking about. You've heard about Kansas. You've heard about probably some of these other teams. You've heard about UCLA being undefeated. You've heard about, Mississippi State's 4-1 now. Cincy's 4-1 now. No one really talking about Syracuse. They're just kind of cozy. They're winning their games. They're doing what they're supposed to. The Cuse are 5-0. It's been a while since they've gotten off to that hot of a start. Mississippi State at 23, Cincinnati at 24, and LSU has broken their way into the top 25. They have that 25th spot after the big come-from-behind win against Auburn on the road. And you look at the others receiving votes. Washington State is the first team out. They will get their chance. They play USC this week. That could be an upset alert game, folks. Washington State is a good team going into the Coliseum to take on the Trojans. If USC, if they look ahead to that Utah challenge, this could be another exciting one at the Coliseum. Baylor, Florida State, Arkansas, and James Madison are the next 4 in that first 5 out, if you want to call them 26 through 30. And then you've got some of these weirder ones. Oklahoma has 2 people who voted for them. I have no clue why. Same thing with Texas A&M. I don't know what 4 points they have. I don't know what you see in either of those 2 teams at this point. They have already proven they are not ranked worthy at this time. But to me, the big one is the Big 12 has a lot of representation. You've got Oklahoma State at 7, TCU at 17, Kansas at 19, Kansas State at 20. 40% of the Big 12 is ranked, and it's teams you would never expect. Did anyone expect TCU and Kansas to be ranked at this point in the season? I know I sure didn't. Kansas State, I could see that. Oklahoma State, I would think that. But no Baylor, no OU, no Texas is something surprising to see. And going back up to the top, I mean, this was the big debate last night. Who do you put back at number 1? All three of those teams have shown signs of weakness at some point this year. Ohio State, I think they fixed their issues already. You saw them blow out a Rutgers team. You know, you don't have Jackson Smith-Njigba, and you still win by 39. That's what you're supposed to do if you're Ohio State. They expect those kinds of games. Georgia just played really odd. I mean, it was something out of a fever dream. Just how bad is Georgia going to play? And still you knew in the back of your mind, they're still going to find a way to come back and win this game. Missouri's not going to hold out forever, and that's what Georgia did. But you're not going to get rewarded for that, and I think the Dogs with Kent State and now Missouri, they've shown some signs of weakness that they need to get fixed up, which means Alabama is once again the number 1 team in the country. Despite not having Bryce Young for a half, they're able to overcome adversity, a 28-point lead, went all the way down to 5. They got it all the way back up to back in the 20s. So, I mean, a good win for Alabama, and it should be another crazy week of football. I also want to point out Oklahoma and Texas this week. For the first time since 1998, neither team will be ranked going into that game. That is something that just absolutely does not happen. But as always, if you enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment below. If you have any thoughts about the AP poll, teams you think should be ranked, shouldn't be ranked, maybe some other prediction you have for this week, what you took away from this week of college football, as always, feel free to comment below. And until the next time, have a good one, everybody.